Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Monday. Happy Columbus Day. Yeah, it is Columbus Day. No longer a major, I guess it's now a minor holiday. Wall Street is open. The gold markets are open, but the bond market's closed. I think, like, banks will probably be closed. Some companies are closed. I don't know about the post office and schools, but yeah, it's kind of one of those now, I guess, minor holidays. So happy Columbus Day out there for those of you that care. For those of you that don't, well, it's just Monday. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. AllAmericanGold.com is the website. We still, I guess, are still waiting for the Israelis. They have yet to strike Iran. I thought it really would. I thought it would happen this weekend. It didn't. I guess that's a good thing. What else? We heard from China this weekend. The markets were a little disappointed this morning. Really, more like about 20 minutes ago. Word is starting to circulate that China is going to launch another stimulus. So here you go, right? It seems like never ending here. Anywhere from, and listen to this range, $280 billion to $1 trillion. We'll see when that comes to light, but that's kind of the stuff that happened that wasn't football, baseball playoffs, right? Basketball preseason, right? We got all this other stuff to entertain everybody. It's going to be a busy yet slow week. We're going to get retail sales this week. We are going to get a crap load of earnings starting tomorrow. Every day this week we'll have big earnings, and then, of course, we'll have jobless claims already. They're saying that this week may be a number above 270,000. That's the worry zone. Now, again, some of it is the hurricanes, right? So, did you see this? There's still like almost 500,000 people without power in Florida. Now, in Florida, listen, nobody's better at hurricanes than Florida. At least I don't think there is. Just tells you, man, how difficult things can be. I don't want to live in that world. I'll tell you that, right? World with no power, no thanks. By the way, we also had Boeing. Boy, this is getting uglier and uglier now. 17,000 people getting layoff notices. Yes, this is strike sort of related. Boeing saying that even when the strike is resolved, most of these employees may not be back. And then 7-Eleven. Now, we don't really have, I don't know if we have any 7-Elevens left here in Phoenix. Maybe we do, and I just don't know it. 450 7-Elevens are going away as well. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see what retail sales says about the consumer. But big layoff announcements. Any way you slice it, 17,000 jobs from Boeing. I don't know how many people work at a 7-Eleven, but you got to figure at least 5, 6, maybe 10. You're laying off, you're shutting 450 of them. That is definitely going to have an effect. So that will be Thursday. So that's coming out on Thursday. And like I said, earnings galore. Not today on Columbus. I think there's only one earnings report today. But starting tomorrow, there's just all kinds of earnings that will come out. Like tomorrow, we'll hear from Citi. We'll hear from PNC. So on the banking industry, Johnson & Johnson and United. So pharmaceuticals, airlines, and then all through the week. Wednesday, kind of ones of note. U.S. Bank Corp, Discover Card. Then Thursday, the big one on Thursday is going to be Netflix, right? Yeah, because, let's face it, Everybody loves that streaming stuff. Ally Bank on Friday. Remember, Ally kind of got the markets all worried when they noted that, hey, people are having a hard time paying those car loans. But, Jason, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he's in the car business. And he was saying that things would have to speed up just to be slow, that nothing is selling anywhere. He has a small little used car business. They hadn't sold a single car this month, and the month's almost half over. And then I was golfing with my buddies. We golfed at a course that we don't normally golf at, but we were trying something different. Go somewhere different. Oh, TD Bank. I don't know when their earnings are out. I'll have to see. But remember, TD Bank, $3 billion fine for money laundering. You don't think there's money in money. Now, here's the funny part. Since Jason brought that up. So Jason typed that in there. He wanted me to talk about it. They create all these ridiculous rules for us. For people that haven't been to the bank in a long time, a lot of people are being taken aback because they're either not allowed to do something. Like, there's some people out there that still think you can write pay to the order of on the back of your check and have someone else about, no. Ask for cash. That's, heaven forbid you ask for like $3, $4, $5, $10,000. Heck now, even cashier's checks. Some banks are like, oh, we got to put a hold on that stuff. Yeah, because, money laundering. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Monday as the election creeps closer and closer. Be more diversified as we've got the bubble zone percolating. Get ready for what is to come. And I guess it's going to be interesting here. I would tell everybody this. It's going to be very close. I don't know who it's going to be, whether it's Trump or Harris. I keep telling you it won't matter when it comes to the things we talk about on this show. It may matter with the border. Maybe, I don't think it'll matter. Abortion, maybe, I don't know. War, spending, how they spend the money. It'll matter there. But what's coming, it will not. The bus that is coming, it won't matter. I think if Harris wins, it'll just be faster. As far as the reaction on Wall Street, the reaction in the gold and silver markets, get more diversified and do it quickly. Right now, the Dow's up 100. The S&P's at a new record, up 35. The Nasdaq's up 100. Like I said, the bond markets are closed today. Oil's down $1 because we didn't hear from Israel. Gold's off about $10 right now. Of course, gold had a big day on Friday. Right now, sitting right around $2,650. Silver's off. Silver also had a big day on Friday, but it's off a little bit, about $31.20. The one metal up, platinum, up $8, approaching $1,000. But again, we're talking about what do you do? How do you plan? How do you get ready? How do you make sure you protect as much as you can? Gold and silver's got to be a part of it. Check out our friends at Y-Refi. If you've got big IRAs, maybe you got $1 million in it, maybe you got $500,000 in it, you need to get serious here. You need to start thinking, hey, should I take 20% of that, 25% of that, and set up a gold and silver IRA? do that with us. By the way, I'm just going to say this, and I said it, and I don't like talking about other gold companies, but you hear all the ads. The guys that now I heard one of Trump's kids, I know the company that he's supporting, they are going to rip you off. Don't do it. Don't do it. If a company has to tell you that they're charging up to 35%, just hang up the phone. Come right here. Single-digit markups. You're not going to pay. You're not going to take a big chunk of your investment and have it go in their pockets. You want it to go into your products. We can help you do that. You can take part of your IRA, put it in gold, silver. There's no penalties, no fees, no nothing. Just some paperwork. Guess what? You can do it with Y Refi as well. Yeah. Is there a penalty? No. Does it cost you anything? No. If you got $50,000 or more, you get great fixed rates of return up to 10.25%. Imagine if you got 10.25% for 5 years. You got to get over 50%. I mean, it's a great way to go. You can use it as income. Somebody might say, hey, you know what? I'm kind of getting ready to retire, and man, that'll be a nice little income stream for me to add to my Social Security. You can compound it. Hey, I don't need income right now. Let me grow it. Because maybe in 5 years or 10 years, then I'll start taking income. But let me grow it. It's not correlated to Wall Street. It's not correlated to the Fed. That's why we like it so much. They don't charge fees. They never attack principal. None of that stuff. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or just call them at 888-YREFI24, 888-973-3924. They can tell you all about what they do. I think you'll be impressed with it. But, Jason, having said that, as we're watching these markets play out, they're demanding more stimulus out of China, and I think they're going to oblige. We got the BRICS meeting coming up, and then, of course, we've got the election coming up. We've got this whole issue with who's going to be buying the debt and how much debt can we really issue. And then, we started talking about TD Bank and money laundering and talking about all the things that they make us jump through hoops now, because you may be, heaven forbid. I mean, think about this. Boy, hey, give me 10 grand in cash. I mean, let's face it. 10 grand. Man, that used to be a lot of money back in the day. It really did. And it's not like, hey, I don't want to, make light of it. 10 grand, still 10 grand, but not really. You can get a really high mile used car, right? Some used car that's probably 15, 20 years old, approaching 200,000 miles, something like that. You can't buy a new car with it. Nope. Not even close. And yet, they'll act like you're a criminal. If you're older, they're going to ask you, oh my, are you being forced to do this? Right? Are you under duress? What are you going to use the money for? If you put in $10,000 in cash, get ready to be asked the same questions. How'd you get this money? Where's it coming from? Right? Now, some of you be like, oh, well, that's a teller being nosy. No, it's not.
It's going to get worse.
Nope, it's not a teller being nosy. Now, maybe back in the day, that would have been true, right? Not today. See, their little screen. The banks have, these algorithms that force the tellers to ask these questions. And then they'll click a little button based on your answer, right? I don't it's like a multiple choice thing. What is it for? Blah, 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 purchase this, that, whatever. Who knows? But they've got to ask you those questions. And I find it funny. Because what do you think they're going to, oh, yeah, well, I just sold it. I just sold a bunch of drugs. So I get, well, you know what? Hey, I just sold bomb-making material to a terrorist, and I'm going to put this in the bank. Who's going to say that? Right? Nobody's going to say that. You could have money, and it could smell like weed. You could have, I don't know, drugs dripping all over it. You still wouldn't say, yeah, I sell drugs. But yet, they think that, this is the funny part. It's that ridiculous. It's that ridiculous. It's like you had to wear a mask going into the restaurant. But as soon as you sat at a table, you could take it off again. But then if you had to go pee, you had to put it back on again. Right? You see how dumb that is, right? That makes no sense. But this is what they do because they're again, they're trying to say, well, you could be a terrorist. You could be an evildoer. Believe me, all the evil doing, Jason, is happening at these banks. And part of the issue is, now, first of all, $3 billion fine tells you how bad it was, right? Why is nobody going to jail at TD Bank? Right? Why? How is that possible? I mean, normally when these banks pay a fine, it's like $100 million, $50 million. $3 billion. I I'll put this bank on one of those banks that probably is going to get bought up soon because that's a lot of capital to lose. I don't know. I don't have any inside information, so don't take it like I'm giving you inside information. Nobody went to jail? Who were they dealing with?
Yeah.
Right? What is going to be the ramifications of it? Right? And I think what you're going to end up seeing is the banks are going to continue to crack down on any of these businesses that go through a lot of cash. And the businesses that they don't like, let me put that in as well. Pawn shops, gold and silver dealers, payday lenders. It's okay for the credit. It's okay for the bank to charge a 30-something% interest on your credit card. That's okay, right? That's okay. We can do it. But Jason, I think this is going to be very significant because of the dollar amount that they've put onto this, that the banks are essentially going to be like, well, gosh, we don't want that to happen to us. We don't want a TD to happen to us. Right? And obviously, I don't know the situation. Right? Was it one bank manager at one bank? Doesn't sound like it, right? Kind of sounds like everybody and their brother at the bank knew about it, and I'm talking about the higher-ups, and didn't care. That's what it sounds like to me, but I don't know all the details. And we'll probably never get to know, or we'll know at a much later date. But it's what the other banks are going to do, because they don't want to be hit with a $3 billion fine. And, Jason, that usually means more restrictions, right? More banks just deciding, you know what, we just don't want to deal with it. So tell you what we're going to do. We're just going to kick you out. And I think that, and we've seen a lot of this lately, haven't we? And the banks are ruthless. They just tell you all of a sudden, get out. Some people get Some people get cut off before the letter even shows up in their mailbox. Right? How do they find out? Well, gosh, my card stopped working. Oh, well, let me call the bank. Something's wrong. Oh, yeah, well, let me tell you why your card stopped working. Yeah, get out. And, Jason, I think we can see a lot of that in the future. I think we're going to see a lot more of this in the future.
TD Bank is, I think, the model for what's going to happen moving forward. This is an ongoing situation that was happening for years before the announcement Friday. I was looking at the Washington, D.C. The guy came out and shamed him in front of the whole world. Joe, it's about cash. Remember those videos we played last year about those coin shops that their bank accounts just shut off on them? One was a big YouTube channel, Yankee Stacking. A lot of our listeners probably scan that guy. Goes into Tim's shop, and the old man sits there and talks about how great Trump is and Republicans, but also talks about exactly what's going on, what Joe talks about. Well, his bank shut him off, Joe. Guess which bank his bank was last year? It was TD Bank. The shop that was closed, that started the trend of the YouTubers, that was TD Bank. So TD Bank, I think the model is in front of us. Your local banks are receiving pressure from the government and the central banks, and they're going to shut your accounts off.
800-951-0592. Yeah, these banks. Man, they're just criminal organizations. Think about this. According to the regulators, from January 2018. Okay, so this is way past the financial crisis and all this stuff, right? And all these things and all these regulations. And, of course, remember, wait till July next year. They're going to crack down more on your bank accounts. They're going to make sure that bank goes under, you get screwed, period. All the way through April of this year, they were money laundering in excess of $670 million. Wow. Not one, not two, but three different drug cartels were using TD Bank to money launder. Like I said, anyone get arrested? Anybody? Nope. Nope. You get caught, cop pulls you over, and heaven forbid you got $10, $15, $20, $30,000 of cash in your car. They're going to take it. Yeah. Right? I don't know. I don't like your story. We're just going to hold it. You're guilty until you prove otherwise. And yet these banks are laundering this type of money. Apparently they were paying their employees in gift cards. Not kidding. For them not to fill these reports out. That I keep telling you, when these banks, when these tellers start questioning you, they're filling out a report. You're like, well, no, it's not like they're writing stuff down. No, it's just a little click thing. $57,000 worth of gift cards to process over $470 million in cash deposits from a money laundering network to ensure employees would continue to process the transactions. But don't worry, TD's ramping up its anti-money laundering surveillance efforts. See, this is the part. What does that mean? Oh, they're going to harass their depositors even more now. That's what's coming. And this is the problem with these things, Jason. It's ridiculous They're sitting there trying to go after and make life difficult for people that, $5,000 or $10,000 when they're money laundering up to $700 million worth of drug money.
The banks, the bad guys.
There you go. Now you're back. You're back now.
I think the goal is to make the banks the bad guys, not the big banks and not the central banks, but the banks that you go to. Listen, I remember you were using COVID as an example earlier, Joe. I remember going into a restaurant that kicked me and my wife out, right, because we weren't going to wear a mask, right? And the bad guy really is the person that, is right in your face. It tells you need to leave. You don't have a mask on. But it's the restaurant. It was a franchise restaurant. They're the ones that have the policy. It's the general manager and his how he wants to run it. Because we went to other places, they didn't make us wear a mask. So it was a company by company situation. It was the company that chose to do this, and then the employee gets. So these little banks, Joe, they're going to get. They're going to get the smaller banks, even though some of these are big banks. TD's like the 10th biggest bank. They're going to get blamed for what the system is having them do. So what this is going to do, this announcement on Friday, when I was looking at this white-haired guy, I don't know his name, he's discussing how bad TD Bank is, right? And you were talking about money laundering, right, Joe? Yeah, I have a feeling all the banks have got that money in there. I think what this will be, Joe, is, hey, you guys, but just as you said, the average person, you're going to be going into your bank. Now, not next year. This is going to happen this week, I think, and in the months to come. You're going to get quizzed and harassed a whole lot more. This is going to be paranoia in the smaller banks. What are we going to do with this problem? We don't want a $3 billion penalty. What gives us the lowest risk? Let's just stop using cash. That's what I see. There's an Australian bank just a couple months ago. They just stopped using cash. They're avoiding this type of thing. So as cash becomes the enemy, as a new system is coming in, Joe, I believe what TD Bank is the first example being held up. You are going to get smashed if you don't know where every dollar of cash is coming from. And then, yes, you the listener, you're going to be going to the banks. You better believe the line of questioning just got harder starting this week. Not next year. It's going to start now, Joe.
Yeah, and it's just something, like I said, it's all just a ruse here. Because obviously the little guy, we didn't do anything wrong. I told you the story about a guy I was sitting at a bar last week, and this guy was talking about how he was buying a car, took out some cash. They gave him a hard time. Ended up not buying the car. 3 days later, he put the cash back in the bank, and the guy's like, they gave me the third degree for that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I just took it out. It's still in your envelope. It's still got you. No, these are the things that are going to come. And again, it's what happens after. Wait till the shock to the system comes. These banks are going to clamp down on just about everything and make it almost impossible for you to get your money. That's why you need to plan ahead. We keep telling you, get your gold and silver put away before this thing goes down. By the way, you know what? Something else we didn't talk a lot about. Premiums are so low right now. Great time to trade. What does that mean? Well, maybe you bought Maple Leafs or Krugerrands, Gold Bars, Chinese pandas. You didn't know. You didn't know about selling back and not being able to stay private. Good time to trade right now. Good. It won't. It's going to cost you a little bit, but it won't cost you a fortune. You're not going to be trading and losing hundreds of dollars to get out of gold. Gold that you don't have to worry about 1099s. The most private, the pre-33 gold. We probably should have talked about that sooner, but I was thinking about it over the weekend. If you want to get out of some of that bullion that you bought, it's a good time to do it. You want to do that, talking trades, call us 800 9510592. Because normally I hate trading like for like, silver for silver, gold for gold. I hate doing it. But with the premiums this low, getting out of some of that reportable gold may not be a bad idea. When we get back, another country. Wait till you hear what this country said about joining BRICS or the EU. That's coming up next. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Monday. Again, we've got a lot of earnings this week. We got retail sales. I think the big move, though, Thursday, it's going to be those jobless claims. May be the biggest number we've seen in quite some time if these predictions are right. But, Jason, you know, we were talking about the banks and what was going on there. We've talked a lot about de-dollarization. This is a real thing. It's a real thing. And we know BRICS is getting ready to expand again. I'll say this. A little unfortunate that this one's in Russia. You know, because they planned this stuff way ahead of time, right? They probably, because of the Ukraine thing, probably would have been better had it been in China or South Africa. But either way, very interesting coming out of Serbia. Serbian Prime Minister, in an interview with the National Defense magazine, flat out said, and this is kind of shocking, Serbia says joining BRICS far better than joining the European Union. What? Yeah, this is a big deal. He pointed out that BRICS is not like these other trade organizations, which imposes strict political conditions. They don't interfere with Serbian internal affairs. It does not require us to change our laws or give up our republic or give up our independence. We're not forced to wave the Ukrainian flag or legalize same-sex marriages. There's no pressure to impose sanctions or hand over foreign policy decisions. They say on top of that, it offers massive economic potential, saying that the BRICS already controls over half the world's gas and almost half the world's oil. We can cooperate economically with a group that doesn't interfere with our domestic policies. And Jason, I think that's a big statement. People need to understand what's so attractive. You know, we talk about the bad guy buzz, but Serbia's like, oh no, that's a part of it, right? But people don't understand. They want us to do right? He talked about same-sex marriages as an example, LBGQ, whatever it may be. They talked about the pressure to change their laws, right? To say, hey, you know what? You need to be part of, maybe it's the WHO treaty, or you need to be part of this or that. You need to have these types of laws as far as what goes on internally inside of your country before you can become a member. Of course, you know, the EU, they tell you the debt limits and other things. Jason, it's a really good case for people out there that don't think this thing has legs. It absolutely does. And it's not, and again, I'm not telling you the dollar's going away. It's not what we're saying. But what we are saying is more and more and more countries are deciding that this is a better alternative. And here's the funny part. They were waiting. They needed the BRICS to have things done, like a payment system. Now they've got the Bank of International Settlements behind them. Now they're coming up with a basket of their own currencies. They want their own rating agency. Jason, all of these things add appeal to all of these other countries. And there's like, wait a minute, we can just join, and we don't have to worry about anything else. They're not going to call us up tomorrow and pressure us to say so-and-so country's on the bad guy bus. They're not going to call us up tomorrow and say, hey, we've got to change laws to meet these requirements. They're just saying, hey, join us and let's trade in stuff other than dollars. That's kind of really the only requirement.
Right now. but that's going to be that's the allure. The way it's set up now is why they're going to get members. It's why so many countries are signing up. But once you get a system in place, suddenly you start to depend on that system. I mean, I was trying to look at the list of countries that are trying to join, just so I can be clear on this, because I'm pretty sure. But we talked about Iran being involved and how this is a great way to bring them into the world system. But what I'm not seeing on the list is the few countries that are still not in the system, that are not. They're still the bad guy bus, Joe. Venezuela's not on the list. I don't think are they being considered to join? I don't think so. So it shows you how the BRICS. Venezuela's there's probably a certain set of rules that Venezuela wouldn't sign on to, so they're not trying to join. So there's North Korea. Is North Korea on this list? I don't know, Joe. I have a feeling maybe they're not there. It's a magic trick. I think it's going to take a long time, but once they divide the world between these two financial systems, we're going to have info wars / economic war going on for quite some time, and they'll point the finger at whatever emergencies arise from this, Joe. It's happening right in front of our eyes, and there's going to be a lot of finger pointing, right, Joe? Evil China, evil Russia, right? They're a cartel of bad guys in the BRICS nations. At some point in this country, it'll be considered the bad guys will be BRICS, right, Joe? But from what you just read, it sounds like the BRICS are offering freedom, right?
It does. It really, really does. Yeah, it's interesting. I know Cuba's on the list. They're kind of on the bad bus, sort of, but not really. But, yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how this all plays out. But very interesting out of Serbia today about why, hey, we want to join BRICS, not the EU. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Just Iran is a member, so they do have some. Oh, yeah. So it'd be interesting to see how this all plays out. Today's
but
special.
That's what I said, Joe. I feel like Iran. The reason they got Iran into this is because Iran this gets them out of sanctions to a certain extent. I think Iran bit on the bait. Because once Iran's in there, then there's going to be these rules that'll come up, and they'll join the system. That's why I said I don't think Venezuela, North Korea. I think they're seeing through it. That's what I'm saying. Those countries are far too suspicious to join. I think Iran sees Russia and China as an ally, so I think they were allured by it. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Cartel is going to be interesting. Yeah.
Today's special U.S. $20 gold pieces. $27.75. You're going to be saving $50 here. These premiums continue to be ideal. I think this will last through the election. A Harris win, forget about it. I think premiums will jump dramatically. I think a good play here is buying it before the premium, because I don't. Once the election is over, I think premiums go up no matter what, period. Whether it's Trump or Harris will depend on how much. So buy or trade, well, the premiums are ideal here. $20 gold pieces, $2,775. You got gold like, $2,650? I mean, that's really some nice and close to spot. That's where you want to be. 800-951-0592. Continue to add here. Like I said, A lot of earnings coming out starting tomorrow. We're going to get retail sales this week, but I think all eyes, Jason, are going to be on those jobless claims. If they're right now, what I'm seeing, 270,000, that would be the biggest in a long, long time. We'll see. Now, some of that's going to be hurricane-related, but the bigger the number, I think the more the markets will be like, yep, see, the Fed's still going to cut rates. Even though they shouldn't, according to their data, they're still going to be cutting rates.
And when's the date of the next rate cut decision? That's about 3 weeks, maybe?
Yeah. So it'll be after the elections. Right, I think right at the end of November, beginning of December is the – wait, I'm wrong. Scratch that. It's actually coming in a few weeks, and then the end of December. So we'll have that third one. So we're going to get one more right around the election, and then one right before the end of the year. That is what the markets are anticipating. And any bad economic data, bad retail sales, right? That'll motivate them. High jobless claims will motivate them. So those are the things when we're looking out for the gold price. You got to look out for. Think about all the things you got to look out. Is Israel responding this week? Is China going to go even bigger on stimulus? Is retail sales going to be bad? And how high are jobless claims? Those are all things that could drive this market very easily, Jason.
There's a lot of things that are going to move markets in the next few weeks, so we'll keep an eye on it. And, just the reason we have you hold gold and silver is that's the flight to safety, and the whole world seems to be having a flight to safety. Gold wouldn't have gone up $600 an ounce this year if it wasn't.
800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're going to come right back with the half-empty cup.